ओके. गुड मॉर्निंग एव्हरीवन अँड वेलकम. आपण सॅटर्डे सकाळी सगळ्यांना बोलवलंय. कृपया प्लीज तुमचा आवाज म्यूट करा. सो जस्ट एक 2-3 मिनिटं मी इन्स्पायर ड्राईव्ह बद्दल थोडी इन्फॉर्मेशन देतो आणि मग आपण इमिजिएटली वी विल स्टार्ट द सेशन. सो इन्स्पायर ड्राईव्ह हे एक 6 महिन्यापूर्वीच इनिशिएटिव्ह आहे. आमचा एक 50-60 लोकांचा ग्रुप आहे जो आम्ही लॉकडाऊन मध्ये वी हॅव स्टार्टेड की सगळेजण थोडेसे लॉकडाऊन मध्ये घाबरले होते किंवा थोडे डिस्टर्ब होते. सो आम्ही असं एक ठरवलं की 5 AM क्लब जे रॉबिन शर्माचं पुस्तक आहे त्याच्यात एक फॉर्म्युला वापरायचा. दॅट इज अ विक्ट्री अवर. सो वी हॅव स्टार्टेड दॅट. विक्ट्री अवर म्हणजे सकाळी 5 ते 7 आम्ही असे उठतोय. ऍक्च्युली तो 5 ला उठा असं म्हणतोय, पण काही लोकांना नाही जमत असल्यामुळे आम्ही थोडं फ्लेक्झिबल ठेवलं टायमिंग आणि 5 ते 7 मध्ये उठून आम्ही सकाळचा 1 तास हा विक्ट्री अवर सेलिब्रेट करतो. सो 20 मिनिट्स एक्सरसाइज, 20 मिनिट्स यू कॅन से मेडिटेशन, 20 मिनिट्स इन्स्पिरेशनल कंटेंट बघणं, पुस्तक वाचणं किंवा व्हिडिओ बघणं. सो हे गेले आम्ही 6 महिने फॉलो करतोय आणि बिलीव्ह मी खूप छान एक्सपिरियन्स आहे सगळ्यांचा. आणि हे इन्स्पिरेशनल व्हिडिओ बघताना आम्हाला असं लक्षात आलं की आपण काही लोकांना लाईव्ह बोलवावं माय स्टोरीमध्ये. आणि आम्ही माय स्टोरी सेशन नावाचा दर महिन्याला पहिल्या शनिवारी प्रोग्राम घेतो. त्याच्यामध्ये काही इन्स्पायरिंग लोकांना बोलवतो, त्यांच्याशी गप्पा मारतो आणि त्यांच्याकडनं जाणून घेतो. बेसिकली इन्स्पायरिंग टाईपचं मेन मोटो आहे की पहिले स्वतः इन्स्पायर व्हा आणि मग लोकांना इन्स्पायर करा. सो वी गॉट अ अमेझिंग रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम द ऑल डिफरंट स्पीकर. आणि मग स्पीकरला ऐकल्यानंतर सुद्धा आम्हाला असं वाटलं की थांबू नये इथे. म्हणजे आम्ही जेव्हा श्री गौरी सावंतचा इंटरव्ह्यू घेतला तेव्हा ती म्हटली नुसतं तुम्ही बोलू नका, पण काहीतरी कॉन्ट्रीब्युट करा समाजासाठी. सो आम्ही बुधवार पेठेमध्ये काही ऍक्टिव्हिटीज केल्या. त्या लहान मुलांना मोदक देणं म्हणा किंवा फूडचे पॅकेट्स दिले. संतोष गर्जे जो बीडचा आहे, जो 106 अनाथ मुलांचा आश्रम चालवतोय, त्यांना आम्ही व्हिजिट दिली, त्यांना काही मदत करायचा प्रयत्न केला. सगळ्यांनी मागच्या 15 दिवसापूर्वी सगळे स्टेटस आमचे बघितले असतील तर आम्ही सॅन्टा क्लॉज तर्फे सांता क्लॉज बना आणि 106 रुपये डोनेट करा. खूप छान रिस्पॉन्स मिळाला. म्हणजे यू कॅन नॉट बिलीव्ह, पण आम्ही मागच्या 6 महिन्यात एक 5 लाख डोनेशन कलेक्ट करून लोकांना डोनेट केलेलं आहे चांगल्या चांगल्या संस्थेला. सो इट इज अ रिअली ग्रेट अचिव्हमेंट. बरेच लोकांनी आम्हाला सांगितलं की पहिल्यांदा आम्ही तुमच्यामध्ये डोनेट केलं, कारण की बऱ्याचदा द्यायचं असतं पण कुठल्या चॅनलमध्ये द्यावं, कुठल्या लोकांना द्यावं हे कळत नसतं. सो आम्ही हा प्रयत्न करत असतो. पुढे पण आम्ही आता गुढीपाडवा असंच वेगळ्या पद्धतीने साजरा करायचा प्रयत्न करणार आहोत किंवा लोकांना इन्व्हॉल्व करणार आहोत फॉर द पार्टिसिपेशन कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन. जानेवारी महिना हा आम्ही अगोदरच ठरवला होता की या महिन्यामध्ये आपण मेंटल हेल्थवर बोलावं, लोकांना इन्व्हाइट करावं. आणि पहिला आठवडा पण आमचा खूप छान गेला. डॉक्टर हरकरे मॅडम आज इथे आहेत. त्यांनी खूप छान सेशन घेतलं आणि खूप लोकांना आवडलं आणि आज पण त्या इथे आहेत. सो आय एम व्हेरी हॅपी शी इज हिअर. त्याच्यानंतर आमचाच ग्रुपचा व्हेरी ऍक्टिव्ह मेंबर निमेश चिनॉय, मुंबईचा आहे तो. तर तोही खूप छान स्पीकर आहे. तर आणि त्याने मागे इकिगायवर आम्हाला एक प्रेझेंटेशन दिलं होतं बघायला की तुम्ही हे वाचा, खूप छान आहे हा कन्सेप्ट. आणि आम्हाला लगेच असं वाटलं की हे प्रेझेंटेशन पुरती मर्यादित न ठेवता याचं एक सेशन करावं आणि लोकांना इन्व्हाइट करावं की इकिगाई हा कन्सेप्ट समजून घ्या. सो निमेश इज अ गुड फ्रेंड. आम्ही पहिल्यांदा मनालीला भेटलो होतो. सो आमची हिमालयाची मैत्री आहे एकदम अशी मजबूत आणि घट्ट. ही इज अ एंटरप्रेन्योर. अंधेरीला त्याचं सिग्मा वेल्ड नावाची कंपनी आहे. इज ट्रॅव्हलिंग लॉट ऑफ, म्हणजे सगळ्या देशांमध्ये फिरतो. छान स्पीकर आहे, खूप इन्स्पायर करतो. सो मला असं वाटलं आज त्याला इन्व्हाइट करावं. एसपी जैन मध्ये वगैरे लेक्चर देतो. सो मला असं वाटलं त्याला आज इन्व्हाइट करावं आणि त्याच्याबरोबर या इकिगायवर गप्पा माराव्या. सेशनची सुरुवात तो एका प्रेझेंटेशन देईल आणि नंतर मग आपण चॅट बॉक्सवर तुमचे क्वेश्चन टाका. आपल्याकडे भरपूर वेळ आहे सकाळ आणि शनिवार असल्यामुळे. सो चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये टाका आणि जेव्हा रेकॉर्डिंग आपलं थांबेल तेव्हा मग आपण एक अनऑफिशियली काही डिस्कशन करायचे असते ते करूया. निमेश, थँक्यू सो मच.
Pleasure is all mine.
सो मेरा वीडियो ऑफ करके आई विल
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome on a cold Saturday morning. I was in fact in Ahmedabad yesterday, and I took a flight after 9 months, and it felt alienated. शायद पहले कभी fly नहीं किया ऐसा लग रहा था. and it was a very beautiful experience to observe the clouds from the sky. And that's probably my ikigai, to see vast spans of land which are just empty, and it gives you such a feeling that we are so small in such a big world, right? So I am an avid reader. I like reading and I like talking. So those who know me know that I talk a lot. So I like to read and I get excited, and when I get excited, I transmit that excitement to others, Jabardasti. So this is one of those sessions. So I have read about this book called Ikigai. I have seen a lot of videos and I love the concept. So I thought it's something that we all should understand and work towards. So I made a small presentation. I'll take you all through it. And whenever you want, we can have a small Q&A on the same. So without wasting more time, let me share my screen. For the purpose of this presentation, I am very good at Hindi and English, but मेरा मराठी फ्रेंच जितना अच्छा है, और शायद मेरा फ्रेंच मेरे जर्मन जितना. तो I would prefer that अगर हम for the sake of dialoguing and understanding English और हिंदी में रखेंगे. अगर कहीं आपको लगता है कि there's something that I'm not able to transfer properly, or you're having difficulty understanding, I'm sure Ganesh will chip in and help. And there are many others on this forum who can help out as well. So let's start with this small concept of ikigai. So ikigai is a Japanese word which is made up of two words, iki and gai. Iki stands for life and gai stands for purpose or worth. Ikigai stands for your reason of being. People put it in a way when you want to get up in the morning. Hello.
Okay. Which way unmute का problem आएगा? Excuse me, please ये करा, mute करा तुमचा आवाज. निमेश ये problem आएगा because we are online. We cannot control this.
No issues at all. No issues at all. Okay, so we will keep continuing. Ikigai is life's purpose, or what is the worth of your life, the reason of your being. या आप what is it कि आपको सुबह उठ के ये दिन कैसा जाना चाहिए, उसके ऊपर आप क्या देखते हो या कैसे करते हो. What is the purpose of your life rather than that. So let's see if we can explore that. So disclaimers, I'm no expert on Ikigai. In fact, after understanding Ikigai, you will realize that having Ikigai can result in success. But success is not a prerequisite condition for having Ikigai. Success और happiness में कोई लेना देना नहीं है. तो ये जब हम समझ जाते हैं, I believe हमारी life already successful हो जाती है. Ikigai is a way to find wonderful things about yourself that you can share with the world, and the world can be grateful for it. जैसे हमको हमारी माँ हमेशा कहती है, या every child is unique and has got something which is really good about them. We have to only go back to our childhood and find what we are good about and share that with the world, and we will be very good at it, and I'm sure whatever we are good at, the world will be grateful for it. So this discussion is, so let's get deep within and find our Ikigai. We are all in the pursuit of happiness. We all want to be happy. तो ये सवाल हम रोज पूछते हैं ना, how do I become more happy? Do I need to make more money to be more happy? Do I pursue my passion to be more happy? Or do I take something called Diksha? Diksha is giving up all worldly possessions and becoming a monk. Should I do that? What do I do to become happy? Or how do I achieve my pursuit of happiness? So here is a treasure map for you. This is a treasure map which will show you how to achieve your Ikigai or your purpose in life. So basic Ikigai talks about is to do what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for or rewarded for, and what you are good at. If you are able to achieve a sweet spot which overlaps all of these, that will be your Ikigai. But Ikigai is more of an emotion, more of a feeling, more of a verb. It can be achieved in many parts. So first, let's explore where are we now. Right now, what are we doing, right? What do you love to do? So if you ask yourself this question, what do you love? What makes you forget everything else in this world and be in the present? There will be some activity आप कुछ करते होगे जो करते वक्त आप बाकी दुनिया भूल जाते हो. You forget all the stresses you have, you forget all the worries you have, you don't remember how much money is in your bank. You get that immense feeling of being in the present and enjoying it. ये क्या है? Can you find that out for yourself? It can be music, singing, playing music, it can be dancing, it can be reading a book, going on a hike, going on a trek, it can be playing cricket. Maybe for Sachin Tendulkar, it was playing cricket, and he kept following it, following it, following it, and he became something better at it. Here is a concept also called flow. Flow is a state where you are in a zen state. आप जो काम कर रहे हो उसमें there is such flawlessly you do it that you don't realize the end effect is so beautiful or so good. It's so unique. If you see the favorite dish you have eaten somewhere, right? How they make it every time. Maybe your favorite aunt, your mother, your grandmother, they make something which is without a very hard-coded recipe. They don't follow particular meticulous steps, but they do something in their own, which results in a beautiful output. It can be Tendulkar playing cricket and making centuries. It can be Kohli for the present moment. It can be A.R. Rahman composing music the way he does. And it can be when you are skating or you are skiing or you are playing football or for me, it's table tennis. When you're playing that sport or you're doing that activity, you're so involved in it, you are so engrossed in it, and it's so automated. You don't have to think, it's just working, and you are just in that present moment, just enjoying it, relishing it. It can even be in eating. You have your very favorite rasgulla or the particular vada pav that you tempt, and when you have it, it gives you that pleasure for that time being. It brings you down to that particular level. That is called being in a state of flow. The idea is to understand what brings you in that state of flow and then be there for as long as you can. This is also achieved through meditation for many people. So what makes you forget everything else in the world and be in the present? This is what you love. So can you have a sort of a list of things that you love to do? Playing with friends, playing a particular sport, going on a trek, any activity, make a list of it, right? And this is also the reason why they call love is blind, because when you are in love with somebody, you forget the rest of the world. And I can vouch for it, because if you see me and my wife, Darshana is probably 4.5, 5 feet, and I'm probably 6'1". And she comes from a family of 4, and I come from a family of 24. And she's highly motivated, highly learned. And when we fell in love and she had to marry me, she did not see anything else but said yes. And this is what I believe, or why people say love is blind, because when you are in love, you only live in the present moment. You don't think about the past and the future. So this is what I feel is something we all should explore and understand. Second is what the world needs, right? Think of it as, what can I do that others need? Can I cook for others to eat? So you can be a chef. Can I provide shelter? People need home to stay. Can I provide a means of a livelihood for others? Be an entrepreneur. Everyone's work makes a difference. Whatever you do makes a difference. What do I do that can have a visible positive effect on others? This is what you have to explore. And I guess we see that in Ganesh's efforts right now, when they are talking about the Inspire Strive, and when the lockdown came into effect and everybody was going to get into a shell. I remember having that conversation with Ganesh, and Ganesh told me that I'm going to start, or I've started a small series of webinars where I want people to stay focused and motivated in spite of everything else in the world. Now, this is something that he thought and he believed in, and that he knows that the world needs. There are a lot of youngsters at that stage who had just graduated, didn't have a job, and suddenly the world has gone into a lockdown. They don't know what's going to happen. He took this initiative to keep them inspired and to keep them in a state which was which made an impact in their lives. Now, this is what makes a difference. It's not something that he's getting paid for, or it's not something that he's doing, but it's something that he loves to do and something that the world needs. So this is what he's found in this segment. We all need to find what we like that the world needs or can help others. Well, everything said and done, you do need money, right? So you need money to take care of your basic needs. You need money to take care of your roti kapda makan, to keep you out of stress and thinking. So if you're not paid well, how can you be happy? Because you will be all the time thinking and worrying about where do I get my next meal from? What is going to happen to my EMI? So it's important that we all get paid and we get paid well. So it's important to know what you can do that you can be paid for. What is that inner thing that you can do that you can get paid for, right? We all have some of the other things that we can do, and I believe lockdown has been a time where people have really explored this the most, because the standard jobs had given way, and some of us, some of the people were put on hold. Some people had salary cuts, and they still wanted to do something, but they had a lot of time on their hand. So I know people who got into baking, I know people who got into trading, I know people who got into various other things to get paid well. But they did not sit down and think about, oh, this has happened or that. They started taking some action. So the minute you get into this, and now when things are getting better, they've realized that what they did over the last 6-8 months have given them much more joy than their regular jobs, and they're considering to move towards their full time. So what can you be paid for and paid for well? So if you're living in a city like Bombay, it's a difficult task. The cost of living is much higher than living in Pune or living in Umargaon or in Gujarat. So depends also where you stay, because a fixed salary is relative to where you are staying and where your expenses are. If we can, you should get paid well for where you are staying. And I believe if you are not getting paid well for where you are staying, move to a place where it becomes easier, to live off the same pay. And that way you can again be in a better state of happiness and find out. So find out what you can be paid for and paid for well. Sorry, go forward. Yeah. So now, very important, and this is something that we all should know, is what are we good at? If you know what you are good at, it's not just that I'm good at playing TT or I'm good at playing cricket and that's what makes it what it is. It is something you are willing to put an extra effort of getting better at. This is what I mean when I say, what are you good at? So it's very important that we all know something that we are good at and we do it over and over and over to become better at it. Coming back to Tendulkar or any professional cricketer, you look at how many times they would have played the same shot over and over and over to become better at it, right? Similarly, if you look at any singer like Lata Mangeshkar ji, she's been singing and practicing all throughout her life. And from the age of 16 to the age she is today, her voice still rings that same bell for every person who listens to it and feels that same joy. So it comes with not only what you are good at, but what you are willing to put that extra effort in. It's very important to face and overcome challenges in your life. So whatever you are good at, you won't be, you'll have to overcome the other challenges at it. You may be good at it. Say, Tendulkar had a challenge of getting bowled to Glenn McGrath every time. And he had to overcome that challenge. He had to learn how to play him well. And the minute you overcome an obstacle, you become much better at it. your confidence level goes up, your satisfaction level goes up, and your happiness level is at a much better state. So it's important to know what you're good at. It's important to keep improving ourselves on it. There's a Japanese concept called kodavari. So it's not kolavari D, it's kodavari. Kodavari is an attitude often maintained throughout one's life, consisting of a central element of ikigai. This attitude is the manifestation of pride in what one does. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's nothing's too small, nothing's too big. We have a office boy here called Rupesh, and I can tell you that he loves his job. He does his job with a smile on his face every single day. If he's met somebody 3 years ago and they have asked for a tea or a coffee in a particular way, he likes to remember it. And when you come the next time, he serves it the same way to you. And he excels in the job that he does. I believe he has that attitude to do the best of your job at whatever you do, and he takes pride in it. Same thing I have seen about people. Anybody you pick up in life, you feel who is successful or who's renowned. That I don't know, in Pune in camp there is a golden or a garden vada pav wala, who owns a big car and many bungalows, and his kids are studying somewhere in the US. These are people who are still making that same vada pav with that same effort and improving it every time. And they are so consistent at it that people keep going back there and appreciating them by spreading the word. There are millions of examples of kodavari, and I'll take some more later when we talk about Japan in particular. But I see this everywhere in the world. I see it in India. I see it in Italy. I see it everywhere. People are there who take pride in what they do, and if they take pride in what they do, they go over and beyond the means of the regular market practice. They don't ask, itna time kyun le rahe? They'll keep doing it. They're happy to put in that extra effort just to clear that stage. I'm sure all of us would have played video games at some part of our life. And when we did play video games, you are at that one stage that you get stuck and you're not able to clear it. And very rarely you would have left it at that. You would have played that at least 100 times to clear that stage. And when you cleared that stage, you had that euphoria inside you. You had that excitement that, wow, I did it. And then that's what makes the extra effort special. So it's important to know what you are good at. Right now, if you already know what you're good at, and that is also what you love to do, that is, you have your passion. There are many people who work on their passion all their lives, right? So from the Japanese context, there are 2-3 examples, but I'd like to take the example of a sumo. The sumo wrestling in Japan is a sport which is much appreciated, and it's there for centuries. You would be surprised to know that the best sumo player is called the Yokozuna, is the grand champion. There only be 72 grand champions in over 300 years. Below the Yokozuna, there is something called the Sekitori. The Sekitori are the top 2 division players. Only 1 out of 10 sumo players can become a Sekitori. A Sekitori is somebody who owns and commands a lot of respect. So he will not carry his own bag. There will be people carrying that for him. There will be the junior sumo wrestlers will be their assistants all throughout. They have to do the tasks for the Sekitori. And being a Sekitori is like the sumo player's dream. That someday I want to be a Sekitori. And very few Sekitoris also become the Yokozuna. But you would be surprised to know that at any given point in time, there are close to 700 sumo wrestlers in Japan competing professionally and training professionally to become a Sekitori or to become the Yokozuna. So much so that after 5 years, so as I said, the normal sumo wrestler, sumo game is very simple. So your rankings are the net effect of your win and losses. So if you won 5 games and you lost 6 games, you are at -1. Right, so your ranking is at -1. So you have to really keep improving yourselves to become the top, to go up the ladder. They had shared some examples about somebody who's the last, who's had the record of being consistently the worst performer in 3 years. When they asked him on his completion of 5 years, every sumo wrestler has been given 3 options of careers, because you don't get paid to be a sumo wrestler if you don't win, right? So you get food and you get lodging. And there's a lot of hard work that you put in training. Then you have to put in efforts, or if you're a wrestler and you're not a secretary, you have to assist the secretary. You have to do a lot of things for the secretary. And since your time devotion is so much, there is no question of you getting married if you're a sumo wrestler, or if that's a passion you're following. So at the end of 5 years, they give them 3 options. One, if you have not made it so far, do you still want to continue to be a sumo wrestler? Even if you have been the worst performer in 5 years, you still can continue to be a sumo wrestler with the same respect. Okay, because it takes persistence to do that, and that is appreciated. Second option is, as a sumo wrestler, you have undergone a lot of training, you have undergone a lot of discipline, and you have been serving people right. So there are a lot of jobs available to you if you so choose to take. Now, when you choose those jobs, they put out an ad for you, and they hope that you will somebody will employ you, and they can take move away from the life of sumo. But till 1 year, they support you by giving you lodging and food. The second option, or the third option rather, is that you've not made up your mind whether you can make it or not. So you still want to continue for 1 year in doubt. They allow you to still wrestle professionally. They pay for your lodging, they pay for your food, and you can pursue your dream. You will be surprised that people still keep doing at it. So only 3 or 4, like 20 or 30% people drop out at the end of 5 years. Rest, even after knowing that they cannot make it to the best, they still pursue being a sumo wrestler and take pride in what they are doing. This is also true in our context. Look at the number of cricketers who never made it to the national team or to the IPL teams. Those are the guys who still play every day at state level, at district level, at Ranji level to try and make it. But they do it because they are working out of passion. There are a lot of stage performers, artists, dancers, singers who, are passionate about their work. They get paid much less, but they have to work much harder. And we've also known this is a lot common in the Bollywood, or the actors who come from various parts of the country to Bombay, and they spend so many years here struggling to be a actor or an actress. But they are still at it because they work out of passion. So if you're loving what you're doing and you're also good at it, what you need to do is market yourself better to increase your payout. That's what you should be doing. Right. So the solution for you is market yourself better and increase your payout, reach to a wider audience. Now, mission. If you what you love and what the world needs. If you are working in this zone, you have a mission. We all have one: world peace, cleaner, greener earth, ahimsa, maybe vegetarianism, being vegan. These are guys who are bloggers, vloggers, who have a mission, who talk about it, who want to take some steps towards it, and who want the world to change towards that. Now, what happens here is there is a lack of sales pitch. So there is a lot of conviction that the world needs this. We want you to do it, and you are passionate about it. This has become your mission. But the amount of energy required to transfer this excitement from you to the others to gather mass is where the difference is. Now, if you look at Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, they've all done this, right? They have made it a mission. They knew that the world needed a better place to live in. They needed equality amongst people, and they needed to drive that. And that's how they moved with this mission forward, and they were able to achieve their ikigai per se. Others who are still doing it, so I'll give you some examples. One of them is Afroz Shah. You may have heard about him, about the beach cleanup in Bombay. There was a lot of waste which was coming back on the beach, and The beach, such a beautiful thing we have, but we are not able to use it effectively because of the dirt keep coming back, the pollution, the plastics kept landing back on the beach. He started a cleanup movement and with his kids, and over the last 5, 7, 10 years there's been a massive change in the plastic consumption patterns, the cleanliness of the beach. And I go to the beach every morning, and I can tell you that immense amount of change it has brought. And because of his mission to have a cleaner beach for the younger generation, we are today able to see a very clean Jew beach on the Versova side. And now people are conscious about it, and so many people are making the most of that. Another one is live here with us, Ganesh Chafekar, and his Inspire Strive is a mission to help people. Right now, he's helped so many youngsters. He's contributed to the lives of people who he comes across. So I'm sure Balegram is one project we took up, and with that mission, we were able to contribute something there. With Gauritai, Sri Gauritai, we were able to contribute something there. No matter how big or small, that's a mission he's taken up, and as we can see, it's gathering mass, right? And that's how it will go to the next stage. So that's having a mission in your life. Now, what if you know what the world needs, and that's the same thing what you can be paid for? Very beautiful thing here is teaching environmental cleanups. I would like to include psychiatrists and social help, which are paid services like doctors as well. They come here. That's a vocation. That's something that the world needs, and they can be paid for it. Now, this is a beautiful, noble profession, and what we need to do here is, if you're a teacher and you're teaching the same thing over and over, it becomes rudimentary or you become outdated. So it's important to constantly challenge yourself to get better at what you are doing. Each doctor, I'm sure, reads the most because they have to keep themselves updated with what's happening, and keep taking one step forward. Similarly, if we are in any of these areas, so environmental cleanup, so I'm from the industrial side, so I can tell you there's something called STPs, that are sewage treatment plants. There are something called ETPs, effluent treatment plants. Now, these are devices that clean or treat water before they go back into the industrial water or the wastewater before it goes back into the natural streams like the rivers or the seas and the oceans that we have. So Ganga cleanup is a big task which is there, and there's a lot of work happening on it from the environment cleanup perspective. So people have made it a vocation where they are into an industry which is to do with cleaning up of the environment, which is what the world needs and what they can be paid for. So why not be better at it? This is something that people are doing, and is a very good thing to keep acting on it and making the world a cleaner, greener place. So here you are helping others in their lives. You need to constantly challenge yourself to get better. So if you are in a vocation, your job is to constantly challenge yourself to get better. And while doing that, you will definitely achieve your ikigai, right? Now where bulk of us sit, that is profession, what we are good at and what we can be paid for. We work in this domain. Most of us, 95% of us are here. We do our 9 to 5 jobs. If you're not happy doing it, then you need to keep looking at options that will pay you well, and you would like to keep working on what you can improve yourself. So you can, today the trends are changing. Professions are no longer bound by the computer science, either an engineer or a doctor. Now it's an open marketplace. I know 13-year-olds who are millionaires because they like the way they want to tell their story, or they like to design socks in a particular way. So there are too many opportunities to follow your dream or to follow what you like and still make money, right? Because now the internet has provided a platform for you to reach to a much wider audience more easily. So what is important to know, if you're doing a 9 to 5 job and you're doing it like you are going there every day, dragging yourself out of your bed, Arey yaar, aaj Monday hai, why do we work on Saturdays? If this is something that you have a feeling, you need to keep looking out for things you like to do and you can get paid for. and something you're good at, right? I mean, people won't pay us if we are not good at doing our job. So here I would like to also understand the difference between job and work. Do we understand this? Uh, what is the difference between a job and a work? A job is something that you get paid to do or you do because you want to make money, right? But work is something you do because you are working on it. You want to keep improving it. You want to keep bettering it. You want to get yourself out there, and uh, you be so good that people really pay to come watch you. People come to pay. So Lata Mangeshkar is very good at singing, and she keeps doing it over and over, so much so that people are willing to pay her a large sum of money just to hear her. Similarly, A.R. Rahman loves to compose music. He keeps doing things that he does, and he gets paid for it. So these are professions where we need to keep improving ourselves. The reason we like Rahman is, you see what he did with Roja when he entered the industry, and today when he did Jai Ho or whatever is his latest work, he keeps working on newer instruments, keeps working on newer compositions, keeps the core of the Indian music intact, and takes the whole experience for the youth, for us, at a very different level. So the combination of these things take you to a better place. So differentiate your job and your work, and if you can slowly start taking your job and making it work where you are able to do it out of passion and profession and get paid for it, you will achieve much better happiness levels or things that you would want to do. So now the treasure maps look like something that you love to do, something that the world needs, something that will pay you well, and some things that you're good at. So as we discussed, if you're in a passion, you need to figure out how to make money doing this enough for you to be happy. If you're in a mission, you have to figure out how to get better at this craft, how to communicate yourself better, how to get this into a snowball effect, right? And if you're in a vocation, you need to constantly keep challenging yourself to get better. So keep getting better as a teacher, keep getting better as a doctor, keep getting better as a social worker. Whatever you do that helps you increase your profession and constantly challenge yourself. Profession, you need to try to find out things that you love doing. Now, if you are an entrepreneur and you love helping people grow in their lives, and you are doing that out of your own love, I can tell you that money or material things won't matter. It's just that smile you see. I can narrate an instance where this company that we have was founded by my father and his partner, Mr. Singh, and the first two employees that they had are still there with us. And we had gone to the wedding of one of these employees' kids, and they had the whole factory was invited to that wedding, and everybody was there having a good time, and we just sat, and I just observed my father and Singh Saab's face, and there was this immense sense of satisfaction they had, and sort of a pride they had that Mrs. Omem and their kids were getting married and having such a beautiful moment, and these two people were sitting on the side, just observing this happiness and feeling so good about it. And that's where their ikigai lies, I guess, in helping or being helping people achieve their goals in life. Being an entrepreneur is one of those things. If you would like, explore that. Right? Ikigai is a verb; it's an action. Your ikigai is not something that will help you become richer, but it's something that will help. What is it that you love to do from inside? Do you like to serve? Do you like to create? Do you like to delight? Do you like to help? Do you like to connect? Do you like to build? Do you like to heal? It's a verb. Find your verb. Okay, find the verb that excites you. Find the verb that really, really helps you get the message through. How now do we get to, so we've understood the whole thing, but how do we work towards it? We can't leave everything, as I said in the first slide, right, and start moving towards it. So let us split and do part-time ikigai, right? So what does that mean? Let the 5 to 9 be yours. So 5 in the morning to 9 in the morning, and 5 in the evening to 9 in the evening. These 8 hours are yours. to work on whatever your ikigai is. You want to be better at a music playing, you want to be better at public speaking, you want to be a cricketer, you want to be a runner, you want to run a marathon, whatever you want to do. Let that 5 to 9 be your time to start your part-time ikigai. Let 9 to 5 be your job. Give 9 to 5 full time to your job and 5 to 9 be your work. This means you should start either a side hustle or a side helpful. Now, what's a side hustle? A side hustle is you do something that pays you and that the world needs. So, for example, you could start giving lectures and getting paid for it, right? So, somebody like me who loves to talk, this is something I'm passionate about: reading, understanding, breaking it down and then re-explaining it in a way that others understand. Then I should start a side hustle where I give talks and get paid for talks. There's nothing wrong in making a little money on the side, but the side hustle will help you become better each time you do it, and it will help you make overcome challenges that you want each time. So if this is your passion, but you are having a stage fright or you have a fright of public speaking, the first time you do it, the second time you do it, the third time you do it, you'll keep getting better at it, right? So start your side hustle or start your side helpful. What Ganesh has done, he takes his weekend off to help people, right? He is doing the social cause of inspiring people and supporting one NGO a month. He keeps building his network bigger and bigger and tries to help. It's a big commendable job that they've been able to raise 5 lakh rupees over the last 6 months to contribute to others. This money has come from unknown people and gone to unknown people for their betterment. And as they say, mercy is twice blessed. The arm that gives also feels the blessing, and the arm that receives also feels the blessing. So he's in a very sweet spot of being in the side helpful. So you can choose to start your ikigai part-time. Right now, having known this, what is important is the 5 pillars of ikigai. 5 pillars of ikigai is starting small. No matter what your passion is, start small. Everything starts small. So there is a classic example of a Japanese sushi restaurant, which is the world's best sushi restaurant, apparently, started by a man called Gino Oro. And he is today maybe 94, 96 years old. He still runs the shop. Now, just to break it down for you, he is the oldest 3-star Michelin rated chef in the world. His restaurant is a 3 Michelin star restaurant. You can imagine how big that is. The restaurant is started and is still in a subway station. It's on a train station in Japan. It is not in the heart of Tokyo. It is in a train station in Japan. The restaurant can only house 10 people even today. He started this journey because he wanted to meet ends for his parents. He wanted a source of income and he didn't know nothing, so he joined the sushi shop where he learned how to make sushi, and he was serving sushi. Slowly he started dropping out of school because he loved to make sushi in a particular way or to be creative with it. And then sushi started taking over his life. So he started this small shop because starting a sushi restaurant had the minimum investment. It is like starting a vada pav stall. All you need is the basics and you could do the rest. He became so good at it that to achieve each time he did something small, to do something better, he kept improving it. So he invented tools today which are used world over. He invented methods of making sushi which are used world over. But he didn't start with an objective of becoming the world's best chef. He started because he wanted to fulfill his need of the family. That led to him loving what he was doing. Now that he loved what he was doing, he started working on it more and more and more and improving himself. Right? Second pillar is releasing yourself. Releasing yourself is having no ego. No job is too big, no job is too small. Do what you love and release yourself of the ego. You are not doing it for winning, you are doing it for living. If you do it for winning, you will somewhere feel bad when you lose. If you're doing it for living, you will only gain experiences and never have sad moment. You learn out of everything you do. So release yourself of the ego and start doing it. So when the Japanese government had to decide where to host Barack Obama the night before the official event, the Japanese government universally means everybody together said we should take him to this shop of the restaurant of Mr. Juno where he can have the sushi. Imagine that as a compliment. And this man who's doing this over and over and is 90 years still not claimed himself to be the best sushi chef in the world. He doesn't claim that. He says he wants to die making sushi. So he has no ego. He just does it to see the happiness on the consumer's face, his customer's face. Harmony and sustainability. Whatever you do should have harmony and sustainability. It has to be sustainable. And it should be in harmony with everybody. There is a shrine in Japan which has a lot of relevance. It's called the Ise Shrine. And the beauty is this is more than 1,200 years old, but it is remade every 20 years. You heard it right. It is remade every 20 years. So they reconstruct the whole thing. So they have two. One they are building while the other one is in play. The other one they build every 20 years and then they dismantle the first one. This entire thing is made out of wood, a particular kind of wood. So they have to plant those trees which are planted for 200 years in the future. These trees that are used are 200 years old to do this job. They are planting today for 200 years down the line. And they are using what 200 years before people had done. And everything that they are doing is to do harmony, is in harmony with the environment, with the world, and is sustainable over the next 100,000 years. This is something which is we should have in whatever we do. Small gains, materialistic gains will go only small way. Something that you do which is going to be in harmony with everybody else and goes a long, long way will always have a ripple effect on everyone, right? The joy of little things. Enjoy every small thing that you do. Every small thing. You can enjoy the smallest of things. I know in Bombay, the local train is the lifeline of Bombay. And there are people who travel from Bombay to Valsad, Vapi every single day. Or Daman for that matter of fact. They all go in the same bogie for years together. They can all afford wonderful cars and they can drive down on their own. But they all still go in that train. To avoid traffic, yes, but more importantly, now they have built a community. This community that goes in that train every day knows each other, plays with each other. They have help each other with whatever stresses they have in life. They share their happiness with each other. They play cards. They do bhajan singing. Whatever they do, that they have formed a sustainable community among themselves. They take happiness in doing that small thing, just getting up and going in that train because you want to meet those friends and get those things done. Meeting your friends is another classic example of enjoying the little things in life. What you do with your best friends is not go to the best restaurants. It's what you did all throughout your childhood. Enjoy that drink of milk that you liked in Bombay, that's energy. In Pune, it can be something else. Maybe that having that bhakar vadi from, Chitle Dairy, or going to a particular vada pav wala together and enjoying that, just relishing that. Those are small joys in life which bring you happiness all throughout. And very importantly, being here and now. Everything you do should be leading to enjoying your present moment, not stressing and worrying about the past or the future. Be here and now and enjoy this moment at this very way you are doing it. These are the 5 pillars of Ikigai which will resonate in some way or the other for you. We all do this to lead a meaningful life, right? So meaningful life is not a place or a destination to get at. It's something you can enjoy right now, anytime and anywhere. A little bit of joy each day will add up to a lifetime of joy for you. So don't push away your joy. So there is a difference here. I would like to just emphasize there's something called delayed gratification. So when you want to buy an expensive car or you want to buy that special watch or the new mobile, you should delay those gratifications. Those are delayed gratifications where you are not buying in today based on tomorrow. Materialistic things may give you a delayed gratification, there will give you happiness. Okay, you will save up for something better. But the joy of living in the moment is every day there. It's just there. So you can enjoy each time, each day, each moment as it is. Do that to lead a meaningful life. Right. A little more about the Japanese way. The Japanese do not need grandiose motivation framework to keep going, but they rely on tiny rituals in their daily routines. So these tiny rituals are starting small. The emphasis is on the pillar of starting small, always. Get up in the morning, do your bed. They have a routine. So one of their emperors wrote to China a letter, and when he was writing to China the letter, he wanted to say that we are from the land of east to you. So he wrote from the land of the rising sun. Now that statement resonated with everybody in Japan and in China. What that statement did in their history is excite everybody to form a daily routine to wake up early. So the land of the rising sun is not only because you are the easternmost country and the sun comes up first, but it also means that you have few people who wake up early every day as a routine. Maximum people there get up early and work on their daily lives because they can get, that morning 5 to 9, they make the most of that. Joy of little things like bhajans or card playing in a group in the local trains, waking up early in the morning, do the things you like first in the morning. So like, if you love eating chocolate, eat it in the morning. Okay, wake up and have that small bite of chocolate. It will release dopamine in your body and it will give you that joy or happiness instantly. And what better than to start your day with a happy morning? This also is if you have a small child in your house, like we have a 9-month-old baby my brother's got. Everyone wakes up to see her face. Just go there, play with her for 2 seconds, and if she responds to the sound you make, that gives you an immense sense of joy and happiness, which is unparalleled. So those kinds of things makes life worth it, right? So make the most out of small things and enjoy everything in life. When you are young, you can not start things in a big way, right? So you cannot start the best hockey training or football training club or the best of whatever you want to do, the best recording studio when you're a child. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter to the world. But kids are always inquisitive. And there's always that sense of extra curiosity they have, and they are always at it. If you observe a child, they are so open-minded. They will try the same thing 1 million times to get it right. They will not give it up. And they will enjoy this entire cycle of learning. Like the basic thing of walking, a child does not give up because it doesn't know how to walk, but when it starts crawling, when it wants to get up on its own 2 feet and you clap, and that encouragement, that child never gives up, it keeps doing it over and over. So you need to start small with an abundance in open-mindedness and curiosity. These are the great kickstarters devoted to your lives, right? Now I spoke about Godavari. This is a very, very good concept in Japan, which is something that we should all also follow or look at. If you notice, things in Japan are flawless. So when we go to Japan as a visitor, I've been to Japan a couple of times, and I can tell you that it's impressive. If they say that the train is going to come at 6:01, trust me, the train will come at 6:01. It won't be 6:02, it won't be 600, it will be 6:01. And if the train is late by a minute, you get a certificate of apology from the station which says, we are really sorry that today because of us, you have lost a minute or you are late in your life by a minute. And this is a fact. Japan consistently delivers very high quality goods and services. It is important to understand the concept of Godavari. Godavari is an attitude often maintained throughout one's life. It's not something that you do for a time. It's something you carry with you throughout your life. This constitutes the central element of Ikigai. It's taking manifestation in the pride in what one does. अब जो भी करो उसमें इतना आपको pride होना चाहिए that this is something that I did will be so good. You will improve on it every day, little by little. you won't be happy. It's like the difference between a vision and a goal. A goal is something you can achieve. A vision is something you will strive to achieve throughout your life. It's something that big. So something like that, Godavari gives you that extraordinary approach of taking care of very small details, very, very small details. Starting small and executing each step to perfection is the very ethos of ramen shop owners in Japan. Now, Japan has a habit of taking things which are not theirs, accepting them that they are not theirs, and becoming very good at it. Ramen is a type of noodle that comes from China. But now in Japan, the world's best ramen shops are in Japan, right? And every shop owner takes meticulous pain in making the noodle in a particular way, to prepare the soup in a particular way, to put the vegetables in a particular way, in the same temperature, to give you that experience. They do this over and over and over because of what they call the Kodavari. Similarly, Japan took over whiskey. So Japan is a rice growing country. They don't grow wheat, or they don't process wheat or pits as much, but they took over whiskey. And today Japanese whiskeys are one of the top known in the world, right? And it's not a very, it started somewhere in the 90s, but they became so good at it. They kept improving, improving, improving. Now they are doing the same with wine. One crucial aspect of Godavari is that people go above and beyond reasonable expectations based on market forces. So they don't say, "Mera kaam itna hi hai," "This is what I'm supposed to do," or "This is what is acceptable." This is ye chalega. That chalega attitude doesn't come there at all. So they will make something, and then they will improve it, and then they will improve it, and then they will improve it, and then they'll improve it. They will improve it so much. The finest example I can give you are the Sembiyaki fruits. And the Sembikia is a shop in Japan that sells very high quality of fruit. When I say very high quality of fruit, you can imagine a strawberry in which the taste goes from sweet to sour from top to down. So as you bite through the strawberry, you can bite the sourness first, and then as you go towards the end, you will find sweet taste. They will craft it in a way, and that's natural. It's not something injected. They have something called a muskmelon, or जो हम लोग खरबूजा बोलते हैं, is a very sign of very high respect in Japan. The muskmelon gives the smell of musk. Okay, and the way they make it, these farmers, they produce it in a way that each muskmelon, एक खरबूजा, sells for $200. That's close to 14,000 rupees for one fruit that you're going to eat in 5 minutes. But it takes ages for them to come to that craftsmanship. Each plant of the kharbuja, they trim away the smaller fruits. They only take one fruit, gets all the nutrient. They nourish it in such a way that it gets, so they take perfection to the level of craziness you cannot imagine. So they sell one single piece of mango. They call it the perfectly ripe mango. They give it to you in a big box, $100, 7,000 rupees for one mango. And people pay for it because they appreciate not only the fruit, but the effort that the people have put in doing this. And normally, if you see, Japanese goods are expensive compared to others. Not because they put in very high value parts, but they go through this process of improving itself and taking it to the next level of perfection. So 10 rules of Ikigai, and something that Inspire Strive has already led you on to. First rule is stay active. So if you keep doing what you like to do, you will never retire because you are working, you are not doing a job, right? Do things of value, make progress, help out. Take things slow, don't be in a hurry. So as they say, worry is today's mouse eating tomorrow's bread. The same can be said for hurry, don't be in a hurry. Take things slow and proportional to the quality of life. And as the popular saying says, walk slow if you want to walk far. And if you walk fast, you will go only a short distance. Don't fill your stomach 100%. So it's a eating healthy rule. So eat only 80% till your stomach is 80% full. And this is one of the tricks to a longer life and a healthier life. Very, very, very important is to surround yourself with good friends. Friends are the best medicine for life. And you should spend time with your friends. You should make time for your friends, and daily, weekly, twice a week, meet your friends. Spend enough time with your friends to feel happy, and they are the best stress busters for you. When you meet your good friends, because after spending time with them, you're going to have a sound sleep. You will have not a worry in the world, and you will not know what happened to you. Get in shape, exercise. Every time you exercise, your body releases hormones that make you feel happy. So get up early in the morning, go for that walk, jog, exercise, get in shape. Smile, 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 smile. Never forget to keep smiling. uh, Smile is something that gives you joy, but it gives others the sense of happiness. It's instant. It instantly contagious. If you smile, others will smile too. Reconnect with nature. Keep yourself going back to forests, treks, hikes, beaches, mountains, wherever you like. Reconnect yourself with nature. Give thanks. Be thankful for whatever you have and whatever happens. Be grateful, and the more grateful you are, the more it comes back to you. Live in the moment. Enjoy the now. Forget what's going to happen yesterday or tomorrow. Plan for it, but don't stress over it. Enjoy today. Don't compromise today for tomorrow. One thing money and nothing can buy is time that has gone by. So take that time, live in the moment, and don't have regrets. A child never has regrets. If you look at a child, he will be jumping on 1 minute and say, "I want to go out and play in the rain," and the next minute he'll say, "I want to do this." Children, we should all excite that inner child of ours and keep it alive. That goes a long way. Follow your ikigai. Now you know you have the treasure map. How to find your treasure? Follow your ikigai. There's a passion inside you that gives you that unique talent and meaning of life. Discover it and live it. Your meaningful life is going to be a lot of work. It's not going to be easy. But now you have the treasure map of it, right? So go out there and live your life. Find your ikigai. Thank you very much. Ganesh.
Yeah. So, Nimesh, I think you should just presentation off karo.
All right.
Yeah, and we will give a 10 to 15 minutes. Recording be off karo. So we'll talk.